My disappointment is immeasurable, and my day is ruined.
Well, hello there, and thank you for joining me for a very special episode in The Legend of Zelda, the Minish Cap, the Cap of the Minish. That's right, I have finished up the game, which means I have got to do some kind of ranking list. That's just how I do it on this channel. So, that's what I'm doing. Anyone who has played these kind of Zelda games before knows that every item you unlock also unlocks some aspect of the world that gives you more and more of the game to explore. That means that these items do have the possibility of causing very strong disappointment. And that is what I will be ranking these items on today. That's right, this list features pretty much every item that you can obtain in the Minish Cap, and I'm going to rank them based on how disappointing I found them in the game. Now, there are a total of 69 items on this list.
Nice.
There was no follow-up to that statement, I just wanted you to know that. One final thing before we dive into the names of the tiers, I do want to give the credit to the creator of this tier list, Ninja Hero 4265. Thank you very much, Ninja Hero, because I didn't feel like making this. And now I don't have to. There were actually 6 items that I did add to this that I thought were missing from this list, but otherwise, they were all there, and it was very helpful. Now, if you have seen any of my tier lists, you know the drill. I have to rename the tiers. I just have to. If I had a better explanation, I'd give it to you, but I don't, so there it is.
Take it or leave it.
So starting with the bottom, the D tier, this is actually the items that give me the most satisfaction, that have disappointed me the least. It's kind of counterintuitive, but remember, I'm ranking this on disappointingness. So these are the items that cause the least amount of disappointedness. And what is bound to cause the least amount of disappointedness? Finding money in your pocket. Have you ever done that? Where you like put on a coat you haven't worn in a long time and you put your hands in the pocket and you find a $5 bill? Oh my god. It's the best! Next up in the C tier, we have a new shirt that fits just right. Ideally one that you bought online and didn't have a chance to try on, and you put it on and you're like, oh crap, this fits perfectly. Love that feeling. Right in the middle of the B tier, we have room temperature. It's neither good nor is it bad, it's room temp.
Feel that?
Actually, I don't feel...
Precisely. Have you heard the expression room temperature?
Of course.
This is the room. This is the room temperature room.
I can't tell where the air ends and my skin begins.
Next up, the A tier, we're getting into disappointing levels for sure. We have stepping in a puddle in fresh socks. That is so disappointing, because then you have to put on new socks. You just put on socks. God damn it. And finally, the S tier, the most disappointing. Oh my god, really? It is package delivered to the wrong house. Especially a package that you were highly anticipating. Perhaps a package that contained a shirt that fit just right. Who knows?
Full freaking circle.
Okay, without any further ado, let's get into this ranking. We are starting off strong with the bow. I love the bow. The bow is a great tool in pretty much every Zelda game. It's a can't miss. It truly is. So I'm putting it right where I think it belongs, finding money in your pocket. I was psyched to get the bow when I got the bow. I was pumped. And following the bow, we have the light arrow. Now, unlike the bow, getting the light arrow, I didn't actually notice that much of a change. I thought it was gonna be way more significant than it turned out to be. I have no idea if it actually helped in my fight with Vati. I used it occasionally in that fight, but I have no idea if it actually did anything. So, ... question mark, I guess? I don't know. We're gonna put that in stepping in a puddle, because at the very least, the effects weren't immediately obvious, like they should have been. If you use the light arrow, you should have been able to see it get hit and it like sparkles or something. I don't know. Fuck, man.
Come on, where's the pizzazzmatazz?
Continuing on with our bow and arrow theme, we have the quiver. I'm including all of the sizes in the quiver, so I think there are 4 sizes total where you can carry up to 99 arrows. Correct me if I'm wrong, but that is what I believe is the case. And I do think that the quiver is a prize of diminishing returns. I do think it gets less and less exciting every single time you get one. The first time you get it, you are really pumped to be able to carry those extra arrows. You need them. You were only able to carry 10 before, so being able to carry 30 to my memory is way better. But by the time you get to the 4th quiver where you get to carry 99, you're not really using them that much. I will say though, the big quiver is absolutely necessary when you're fighting Vati, which is why I believe I am gonna have to put the quiver in a new shirt that fits just right. If you average out the amount of excitement you get from finding all of the quivers, I think it equals about a shirt that fits just right.
I guess that makes sense.
Now we have the Gust Jar, and the Gust Jar, I don't know. I'm not a huge fan of the Gust Jar. I think it is a little unwieldy. It's a little cumbersome. That being said, I do also think it's a pretty cool feature. I can't think of many other Zelda games in which you can be a ghost buster, and I do enjoy busting the ghosts. But at the same time, once you get other tools, you realize that the Gust Jar is probably one of the weaker ones. So for that reason, I think I'm gonna put it in room temperature. Right in the middle. Now we come to a tool that I cannot pronounce. It's the Cane of Pachi. Or is it Paki? I don't know. But I like to say Pachi. I don't know. It just feels right, so that's what I'm going with.
And there's nothing you can do about it!
I feel much the same way about the Cane of Pachi as I do about the Gust Jar. I feel that it is pretty useful in the dungeon in which it is necessary, and in the surrounding area directly surrounding its dungeon, but that's about it. There really are so many other tools in this game that just are way more applicable. I think this also belongs in room temperature. Now we have the mole mitts. Oh, I love the mole mitts. This is one that I absolutely love because it lets you get into all of those little hobbit holes that you saw around Hyrule, and by the time you get to them, you know you need a tool to get in there, and you just desperately want to get that tool, so by the time you finally get it, oh, it's the best. Plus, it lets you get to so many different areas that you weren't able to get to before. I gotta say, it's a finding money in your pocket.
Secret tunnel, through the mountains. Secret tunnel, yeah!
The Flame Lantern. The Flame Lantern I was really pumped to get, but I also had convinced myself that I wasn't going to get it, because by the time we actually got the Flame Lantern, we had already encountered situations in which we had to push a button in order to light torches, so I just assumed that all torches had some kind of button involved. So getting the Flame Lantern, it was a pleasant surprise, actually. That being said, it's not like the Mole Mitts where it unlocks a whole bunch of different new areas. It really only helps with the Percy quest, if I remember correctly. I mean, not only, it helps with other stuff too, but in the outside Hyrule area, there aren't very many uses for it that I can remember off the top of my head. That being said, I still really love it. It's a new shirt that fits just right. Fire! Next we have Rock's Cape. I love Rock's Cape. The ability to jump in this game is great, despite the fact that by the time you get it, you have unlocked most areas in Hyrule. It just makes navigating Hyrule so much easier. You can just jump over certain obstacles as opposed to having to actually navigate them. We're putting that in finding money in your pocket. The Ocarina of Wind! Oh my god, this is what allows you to unlock fast travel. How could I want that to be anything but finding money in your pocket? Anything that allows me to fast travel is instantly my best friend.
I don't like walking.
Now we have the Smith's Sword, and the Smith's Sword is the very first sword you get in the game, and it's the weakest one, but at the same time, there is something nostalgic about your first sword, because by the time you get to use it, you really want to use it, right? In the story, when you get the Smith's Sword, at first you're only holding it to deliver it, so you don't get to use it until the events at the castle with Vati. So until then, you encounter monsters and other obstacles that need a sword, and you can't use it, and oof. By the time you get to use that Smith's Sword, it is like finding money in your pocket. And on the flip side, the next 3 swords are just variations on the Smith's Sword. Now, each one does come with the ability for you to multiply yourself, so that's something. Is it enough?
No.
I think these are room temperature for me. And then of course you have the 4 sword, and that brings it back up a little bit to a new shirt that fits just right. And that's because not only are you able to multiply yourself into 4 links, which is the most you will ever need, so it's the most useful, but also you are able to make that beam that brings rocks back to life. By rocks, I mean the stone statues that were once people.
6 of 1.
The Pegasus boots. I love the Pegasus boots, despite the fact that they are very hard to control. You can control the direction that he goes in to a certain extent, but it's really difficult, and if you don't do it right, he'll slam into something. Yeah, it can be both a blessing and a curse. I think still, it's a new shirt that fits just right. The boomerang is so useful. It stuns enemies, and that just makes it incredibly helpful, especially for those harder enemies that you really didn't know how to fight. The Wizrobes in particular do not like the boomerang, and it's very helpful because those guys like to shoot lasers at you. It's not very cutesy, it's not very demure, I just don't understand it. I don't respect it.
Your behavior is unconscionable.
So for that reason, I think it's a new shirt that fits just right. But the magic boomerang? Learning that the magic boomerang is one that you can control the direction of? Oh my god, that was so exciting. That was a game changer. That was a finding money in your pocket game changer. And do you know what else was a game changer? The flippers. If you followed me in this playthrough, then you know that I basically spent the entire lead up to finding the flippers complaining about not having the flippers. I just really wanted to swim. It unlocks so much. It makes things so much easier. It makes walking around water way less of a threat. Man, I'm being real generous with this list, and I could not care less. Things that make me happy. Fight me.
Big whoop. Want to fight about it?
The grip ring is a really helpful tool because that's the tool that allows you to climb the cliff faces in Vale Falls and in Mount Krennel. And that is what really helps you navigate that area in a way that doesn't make you go through 50,000 caves. So for that reason, I'm going to put it in a new shirt that fits just right because it really does help immensely. And when you learn that it helps immensely, it's a wonderful, wonderful realization. And the power bracelet, I think I'm going to put right next to the grip ring. I thought I was actually going to put the power bracelet in finding money in your pocket, but I don't think I can because it's not as applicable to as many things as I thought it was gonna be. When you get it and you use it for what you need it for, it's so helpful that it's just wonderful. Especially because you have to go through that little Minish rite of passage in order to get to it. But once you use it the few times you need it, you kind of don't ever really need it again. The grip ring, you kind of navigate with it a lot, but the power bracelet, it is a little bit one and done. So I think that's why it's not finding money in your pocket. If it made me stronger in more areas of the game, I think I would have put it higher on the list. Or I should say lower. Lower on the list.
There's only room for one. You need Tasker in my kitchen.
I was so excited to get the Jabbernut because up to the point of actually getting it, I was so sure we weren't ever going to be able to actually communicate with the Minish. And it was just gonna be a bunch of nonsense. Now, why did I believe that? I don't know. Looking back, that was a stupid thing to believe, but I did at the moment, so here we are. I was excited to get it because that meant I could understand all of my little Minish friends. It was a new shirt that fits just right. A heart piece and a heart container. I mean, who? I upset myself with the hypothetical in my head. Who would put this in any tier other than the most satisfying tier, in the least disappointing tier, in the finding money in your pocket tier? First of all, you get healed every time you get a heart piece or a heart container, but second of all, every time you get one, you are one step closer to being the strongest Link you can be.
That's a dream. Yeah.
Here we are at the 4 elements. We have the earth element, the fire element, the water element, and the wind element. I really think that these are fine. They're fine. I'm not super pumped to get them. They're just the prize at the end of the dungeon. But to me, the prize you get at the end of the dungeon is really just being able to access new areas of Hyrule. It's just being able to explore more and continuing on with the game. I'm never like, I'm so pumped to get that earth element. Yeah! I'm not disappointed either. I'm not like, oh man, an earth element. I was hoping for money because that would be stupid. That they told me what to expect and then I got what I expected. And for that reason, I think all of the elements belong in room temperature. And now we have a dungeon map. Whatever dungeon you happen to be in, the map that you find that helps you navigate the dungeon.
It's pretty self-explanatory.
I always get pretty pumped to find the dungeon map because it really does make navigating the dungeons that much more easier. It's I think, the most useful tool that you find in the dungeons, other than any actual tools that they give you in the dungeons. So I think it's a new shirt that fits just right. Now, on the other hand, finding the compass I always thought was really disappointing. And that's not really fair to the compass because I actually think it's a really important tool in the dungeon. It tells you anywhere that you might be missing a treasure chest. And I can't understate how important that is because some of those treasure chests have small keys in them. You know, the thing that you actually need to navigate the rest of the dungeon. So being able to find any chest that you missed can really, really help you navigate that dungeon. But that being said, every time I open a chest and I get a compass, I'm just a little disappointed. I'm not package delivered to the wrong house disappointed, but I am stepping in a puddle of fresh socks disappointed. And it's like, what was I expecting instead? Money? I guess so.
I've got something for you.
I was hoping it'd be money.
Speaking of the small key that I just mentioned, that's what's next up. And I think I'm gonna have to put that also in stepping in a puddle in fresh socks. Again, it's a necessary tool. And when you find actually, now that I say that out loud, half say it out loud, I interrupted myself. It is a really necessary tool, and sometimes when you find them, you are psyched because you needed it, and you were looking for it. And other times when you find it, you're like, no, a key, cool. So for that reason, we're gonna put it in room temperature instead of stepping in a puddle in fresh socks. That was close though. I'm also gonna put the big key in room temperature because I was never all that excited to get the big key. It's just a tool to get to the boss. You need to find it to open the door, sure, but I was never like super pumped to find the big key, and you can't use it for anything else. Another reason why the small key is also in the room temperature category. You can't use it for anything else beyond the dungeon.
This is a puny unitasker.
So it's just very disappointing overall. Oh, but you know what's not disappointing overall? An empty bottle. Finding an empty bottle is probably the next best prize you can get after finding a heart piece. It might even beat a heart piece. Maybe it's on the same level as a heart piece. I know for sure that it's finding money in your pocket level, because that is so exciting, finding the bottle and knowing that you're going to be able to use it for potions or milk or charms or fairies or whatever you want. It makes the game so much easier. Now, next up on our list, we have bottled dog food. This is also in the finding money in your pocket tier because not only do you get a bottle out of it, but you get to see a dog, so win-win.
Dogs are nice. I love dogs.
And you know what else belongs in the finding money in your pocket tier? That's right, the bottled fairy. Are you seeing a trend? The bottle trend? Bottled fairies can literally save your life. If you are about to game over and you weren't paying attention to your health and you die, the bottled fairy will come back and save your ass. It won't replenish your health all the way. They only give you 5 hearts, but it's enough to keep you alive. It's enough for you to drink some potion or some milk or whatever you gotta do.
He needs some milk!
And speaking of milk, that is what's next on our list. Milk is another thing that doesn't replenish all of your hearts, but you also get 2 servings out of each bottle. So you really do get a little bit of a bang for your buck for it. So I think I'm gonna have to put Lon Lon Milk in a new shirt that fits just right. I think if it healed more, I would have put it higher, but since it doesn't heal as many hearts as I would have liked it to, I think I'm gonna put it just 1 tier lower. Next up we have Blue Potion. Blue Potion is a potion that only heals up to 8 hearts, which can be really useful, especially early on in the game, and especially since it only costs 60 rupees, so it is a good way to save money early on in the game when you don't have as many hearts to replenish. But once you start collecting over, let's say, 10 hearts, you're going to need to buy more than 1 blue potion in order to replenish yourself completely, and it starts to have diminishing returns after that. So I'm still gonna put it in a new shirt that fits just right, but I do think that it is very much on the fence there.
You got lucky.
But then we move on to Red Potion, and Red Potion is the MVP for me. I love it. The Red Potion is what helped me survive the Vati fight, and without it, I really truly would not have been able to live. So for that reason alone, we're putting it in finding money in your pocket tier, because that's where it belieres. That I should not have tried to make that rhyme.
No, you shouldn't have.
Next we have the charms. The one I have pictured here is Farore's charm, but I will be including Din and Nehru's charm in this as well because I feel the same about all of them. I think that they're fine. They're a little disappointing just because they take up an entire bottle spot that I then can't use for healing. And I didn't really see that much of an impact on either the attack or the defense front, so I just didn't really see that much of a value in it. I thought overall it was kind of disappointing, stepping in a puddle in fresh socks. Now we have the bomb bags, and again this is all sizes, just like the quivers, and just like the quivers, it is a case where it gets less and less exciting each time you find them. It's great though, because you need a lot of bombs, and it's cool that you can carry a lot by the end of it. So I think a new shirt that fits just right, I think it's fine. It goes where the quiver went.
That makes sense.
Now we have bombs! I was really pumped to get bombs. Not only can you use it as a tool to access new areas, but also as a weapon to fight enemies. Bombs are just really one of the best tools, a new shirt that fits just right. Now the reason I didn't put it in finding money in your pocket is because that's where remote bombs are gonna go. Remote bombs have all the benefits of regular bombs with the added bonus that they don't just go off at random. You decide when they go off. Isn't that incredible?
It really is.
Now I'm very much on the fence on where to put these next three. The books are what you need to collect in order to get to Master Library, the Minish that has the flippers that you need in order to learn how to swim. So they are a means to getting one of the best tools in the game in my opinion, but that doesn't in themselves make them not disappointing. All three of these books, History of Masks, Legend of the Picori, and A Hyrulean Bestiary, all three of them are just tools. They're a means to an end, and I'm not any more excited to collect them than I am to collect just random things I find in the field. But I can't say I'm disappointed to collect them either, because I knew exactly what I was getting. I knew I had to collect those books. So to be disappointed that I then went to collect them would be strange.
Well, I don't know what I expected.
So for that reason, they're gonna go in room temperature. All three of them. And now we have the Swordsman's Newsletter. There are actually 8 copies of this newsletter, and I didn't include all 8 copies because I feel the same about all of them. I'm very disappointed in them. You have to spend 200 rupees each to get a collection of information that probably already knew if you played the game long enough. I did get a few helpful hints, a few helpful tidbits that I didn't know, but the vast majority of the information in that game was information that I had already learned before, just from trial and error, or some other character outright told me, or I had already encountered it in some other Zelda game. I think I would find this far, far, far less disappointing if it wasn't for the fact that they cost 200 rupees each, for no real particular reason. I think this is our first package delivered to the wrong house.
It's not worth it.
Now we have the Wake Up Mushroom. And the Wake Up Mushroom has the same issue that the books had, which is that it was a tool that I was told to go get, and then I went and got it, and then I used it the way they told me to. I needed to wake up Rem with this mushroom, but collecting the mushroom itself wasn't the exciting part about that. It was waking up Rem and learning what I needed to learn from him. That was the exciting part. It's room temperature. Like I said, it was a tool, and it did what it needed to. Next up, we have something that I didn't know existed. I missed this part of the game. I do believe that Tingle's Trophy is the only thing that I didn't get in this game. In order to get Tingle's Trophy, you have to fuse Kinstones 100 times, and I was only able to find 99 fusions. I don't know where the 100th is, but I eventually gave up. I do take comfort in knowing that I'm probably not the only one that didn't get Tingle's Trophy. It is not something that I would think every single player of the game is going to get. Much like the figurines, it's something that some players simply won't bother with.
Yeah, fair enough.
Getting Tingle's Trophy is meaningless. It doesn't mean anything to me, because I didn't think that it was gonna happen anyway. I didn't need it to happen. It's a little anticlimactic, especially since you have to fuse 100 times in order to do it. It's just a lot. Delivered package to wrong house.
Too much work!
Oh, now we have the Karlov medal. The Karlov medal is another medal that you might not have seen before if you didn't collect every single figurine in the game. I know some people just don't bother because they actually value their time. I'm not one of those people, so I actually did get the Karlov medal, and can I just tell you, boy oh boy, did it make me happy. I hope you treasure it always! Whoa. I will. I really, really will. Oh my god! I can't say that I was particularly happy that I got the medal. It was more the fact that it looks like that. It brings me such joy that it looks like that. But at the end of the day, it is still just kind of a meaningless medal. It's just another empty collectible after a series of empty collectibles. So for that reason, it's going to be stepping in a puddle with fresh socks. I say that if it didn't look like that, it would go with the Tingle Trophy, but because it looks like that, it gets a pass from me.
Hilarious.
Now we have the spare key. This is the key you get to get access to Lon Lon Ranch. And I just think it's always exciting to get access to Lon Lon Ranch. I love Lon Lon Ranch. I don't care what form it comes in, it's always a banger. So, new shirt that fits just right. It was pretty exciting to get that key. Hey. Hey. That's right. Hey. Hey. That's right.
That was an ordeal.
And then we have the Graveyard Key, and the Graveyard Key wasn't as exciting to receive because it's not in as central a location as Lon Lon Ranch. Lon Lon Ranch is pretty central in the map, and the Graveyard is way off the beaten path. So you really only need to use it a couple times. And for that reason, I just don't find it all that exciting. I'm gonna give it a room temperature. Now we have the wallet. All sizes of the wallet, because you do get different sizes of the wallet throughout the game, and I am always equally excited to get a bigger wallet, because unlike the bomb bags and the quiver, where at some point you just don't really need that many, you pretty much always need that space in your bag for more rupees.
I love money.
I find the wallets to be pretty darn exciting. A new shirt that fits just right. The next three are the golden kinstones that are very specifically used to travel. You have to navigate with them. So the mysterious statue kinstone you use in the Caster Wilds in order to get to the Wind Ruins. And then the Source of the Flow kinstone is how you get into Vale Falls. And then the Mysterious Clouds kinstone is what you use in order to travel the clouds in order to get to the Wind Tribe. I can't particularly say that these kinstones are disappointing. And in the same vein, I can't particularly say that they're exciting. They're pretty room temperature if you ask me. All three of them. I do think it's exciting that they give you access to new areas, which is why they aren't, higher up and more disappointing. But I also think that they're just a means to an end, which is why they're not lower down and more exciting.
You basic.
Next, we have the Tiger Scrolls. These are varying levels of exciting. It really does depend on what the ability is. So the first attack is the spin attack, and that is pretty cool. You use the spin attack a lot, even when you're not using it for enemies. You just use it as a way to, activate multiple switches at once, and all kinds of good stuff. So I think the spin attack is a new shirt that fits just right. Now, I have no idea what this fast scroll is. I have looked everywhere, and I can't find any evidence of it. It's not the dash attack, because the dash attack is right here. So I don't know what the fast attack is. I've googled it, and I've looked on the wikis, and I've looked all around. I have no idea what this is. And that really disappoints me a lot.
What's the point of you?
Oh, but on the other hand, we have the beam attack, one of my all-time favorites. That's when you have a full thing of hearts, and you can just, wha-bam, attack people with your sword from a distance. That's finding money in your pockets kind of fun. Now we have the dash attack, which is what I would think fast means, but no. So I don't I'm still very confused about the fast attack, but I'm going to move on now. The dash attack sounds cooler than it actually is. It's actually not as helpful as I thought it was going to be. Because it hinges so much on the Pegasus boots, which are so annoying to try to control, it means that it's not as helpful as it could be. But that being said, it does help that you can just kind of run through an area and just any monster that you might find, you'll just hit it automatically. So that is helpful. I think it's room temperature.
What? That's it?
Now we have the peril attack, and the peril attack is a lot like the beam attack, except in the opposite direction. For the beam attack, you need to have full hearts. For the peril attack, you need to have almost no hearts. I believe it is when you have 1 heart or less, you will find that the peril beam is suddenly your best friend.
Did we just become best friends? Yup!
I love the peril attack because I'm not good at gaming, and it really helps to have that little cushion, that judgmental little cushion. I think the peril attack goes right with its friend in finding money in your pocket. Next, we have an attack that I wasn't expecting to be so exciting, but once I got it, I was pumped, and that is the Rock Breaker attack. The Rock Breaker attack allows you to, as the name implies, break rocks, but more than that, it allows you to break pots, which means that you don't have to pick up every rock that you see. You don't have to throw everything anymore. It's wonderful. It's finding money in your pocket wonderful. On the other hand, the roll attack, not so wonderful. It's not wonderful, but it's also not wonderful.
What?
I imagine the roll attack is probably extremely useful for people who are actually good at controlling their fingers, but that's not me. I'm someone who kind of mashes buttons and joysticks until ultimately I make it through. That's just who I am. And that means that the roll attack, it's not for me. I'm gonna put this at room temperature, because that's how I feel about it. Now, the down thrust attack is an attack that I think I would put in finding money in your pocket if I used it more. I found that I didn't use it very often, and I think that's because I needed to have Rock's Cape equipped at the same time. Sometimes I did have Rock's Cape equipped, and then I could use the attack, and then I would forget that I could use the attack because I didn't always have Rock's Cape equipped. That being said, when I did remember that I could use it, it's a pretty great move to have. I'm gonna put it in a new shirt that fits just right.
Yeah, that feels right.
And finally, the last and greatest attack in the Tiger Scrolls attack. Of course, we're talking about the Great Spin Attack, and the Great Spin Attack is exactly what it sounds like. It's a spin attack, but it's great. Because instead of spinning once, you just keep spinning. You just keep spinning, spinning, spinning. You just keep spinning, spinning, spinning. And I love that for me. I love that for all of us. So I think that's finding money in your pocket, kind of love that for us. Now, I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, you just said that the Great Spin Attack was the last Tiger Scrolls, but here are 2 more Tiger Scrolls. And to that I say, I don't know what these are! I don't know what these are, and I can't actually delete things from a tier list. I can only add images, I can't delete them, unless I'm wrong about that, and in that case, I don't know how to delete them from the tier list. So I just had to keep them here, and I googled, I have looked up and down the internet for many an answer, and I don't know what a long attack is, and I don't know what a split attack is, and if I did, I would know how to rate them. But I don't, and I'm so disappointed by that. I'm package delivered to the wrong house disappointed.
You're such a disappointment.
Because I want to know what the long attack is. Does that mean I can attack people from far away? How is that different than the boomerang? Or the arrow? I want to know. What's a split attack? Does Link do the splits? Questions abound. If you know what the fast attack, the long attack, or the split attack is, please let me know in the comments. Please let me know if I've missed something in the game and then the internet simply just decided to keep it a secret from me. Because the game itself told me that there are 8 Tiger Scrolls. And that's the number I'm familiar with, but This list had 11, and I don't know where the other 3 came from.
Who are you people?
Okay, moving on. We have the small shield. This is the shield that Zelda gives us after she won it in the contest. It's very sweet and just a little bit selfish of her because she says that we can use it to protect her. And it's like, oh, you got me a present so that we can use it on you. Thanks, sweetie. But at the same time, I understand where she's coming from. And she's actually proven right, because pretty much instantly after we leave the festival to head back to Hyrule Castle, Zelda gets whapped in the head by a business scrub's Deku Nut. By that point, we had already had the shield, but we did not use it to protect her. And that's hilarious. I love that for us. Getting the shield in Zelda is a lot like getting the sword in Zelda. It's a bit like a rite of passage, but for me I always found getting the shield just a little more disappointing than the sword, because the shield is a defensive tool and it's not as fun. That's really all there is to it. You can't hack and slash with a shield. So for that reason, I'm gonna put it in a new shirt that fits just right. Now remember how I just said that you can't hack and slash with a shield? Technically I was wrong, because we have the mirror shield, and the mirror shield does allow you to hack and slash, in a way. The mirror shield reflects attacks from enemies back onto them, so it kind of does hack and slash. And it's awesome. It's really, really cool to see it bounce those attacks back on the enemies. And I would put this in finding money in your pocket. I would rank it so high. But I can't. Because you see, you can't get the mirror shield until after you beat the game. That makes it quite possibly one of the most pointless prizes in the game, if not in the entire Zelda series. You have this tool, this incredible, awesome tool that you could really use in the Vati fight, and they just decide to not let you get it until after the Vati fight.
What's that about?
I assume that maybe the devs thought that people wouldn't 100% the game before fighting Vati, so they would have something to use the shield for, but that's not what I did. I 100%ed the game. I got every heart container, I got every collectible, I did everything I possibly could, and then I went to fight Vati. So once I got the mirror shield, it was like, oh cool, what a useless fucking prize. When I tell you I was disappointed, that's not even accurate. Disappointed isn't even the right word, because I was crushed. I was really, really, really bummed out that I wasn't able to use this in a more official capacity. The mirror shield is a package delivered to the wrong house, not because of what it is, but because of when you get it.
Feel like you're mocking me.
Now we have another thing that I, for the life of me, can't figure out what it is. I searched everywhere, up and down, the wikis and online and everything, looking for what this question mark could possibly represent. I even reverse image searched it, and it yielded no results. The only thing the internet hinted at it possibly being is something related to kinstone pieces. Maybe it represents all of the different pieces of kinstones that you can find. Or I thought maybe it could represent all of the different figurines you could collect. I don't know what this is supposed to be, but I decided to treat it like it was different kinstone pieces. So all of the various kinstone pieces that you just find lying about Hyrule, after you kill an enemy or cut down grass or, break a pot or whatever, you'll find a kinstone piece. And the kinstone piece is either red, green, or blue, and it's really disappointing after a while. The most disappointing, though, is when they're in chests. When they... There's something really upsetting about a kinstone fusion that unlocks a chest, and when you go to open that chest, it's just another kinstone piece. That really does seem insulting.
Am I a joke to you?
So, if I'm going to say that this question mark represents all of the different pieces of kinstones you can find, then I'm going to have to put it in a package delivered to the wrong house. Because there is something so disappointing about finding a kinstone piece when you just wanted something else out of that chest. And finally, we have the Joy Butterfly. This is something that you unlock through Kinstone Fusion, and it just makes you better at whatever skill you have. So I think it makes you run faster with the Pegasus boots, and I think there's a couple other things. Maybe dig faster, if I'm remembering correctly. There's a few of them. It's pretty cool, but it's nothing life-changing. I wasn't mind-bendingly excited. So I'm gonna put it in room temperature. I feel room temperature joy when I see them.
MEH. Meh.
Now looking at this, I realize right now that there is one thing I'm missing, and I have to add it so that this tier list can be complete. 1 minute.
1 minute later.
I can't believe mysterious shells weren't included on this list, and I can't believe I didn't notice until just now, but mysterious shells are the last item for real on this list, and mysterious shells made me disappointed way more than kinstones ever made me disappointed. If kinstones are packaged delivered to the wrong house, then the mysterious shells would be an entirely new tier. I'm gonna have to put mysterious shells in package delivered to the wrong house simply because there's no tier higher than that, but the mysterious shells are so disappointing that it makes me realize that the kinstone pieces aren't as disappointing. Kinstone pieces are stepping in a puddle in fresh socks compared to the mysterious shells.
They are that bad.
Because with kinstone pieces, at least you have the chance of fusion, which gives you the chance at getting something good. Maybe, maybe not. With mysterious shells, you know what you're getting. And what are you getting? Figurines. That's it. That is the ultimate in disappointing. And there we have it, folks. All of the different items in the Legend of Zelda Minish Cap ranked by how disappointing I find them. I gotta say, I went into this really expecting to have been disappointed by more items than I actually turned out to be disappointed by. And looking back, I'm realizing that a lot of that disappointment that I was thinking about when I first got the idea to make this list, that was actually just disappointment that I felt about kinstones and mysterious shells. There were just so many of them in the game that they kind of overran a lot of the other items that you can find. But a lot of the tools in this game are fun. They're cool, they're fun, and they add a little bit of a different element that makes them worth collecting in some way. I really have to say I wasn't disappointed by a lot in this game. I really did like this game a lot, and that's reflected by the fact that about 50% of the items are in not disappointing or higher. In very not disappointing.
I'm not easily impressed. Wow! A blue car!
So, yeah, there we go. I am so happy that I took the time to play the Minish Cap. If you haven't ever played the Minish Cap, I don't know how you clicked on this list, and then I don't know how you made it to the end of this video, but if you're here, thank you. And if you've never played the Minish Cap, really go check it out. It's a really cute game. It's really cute, it's really different, and you don't actually have to collect the figurines. You can if you want to, but you don't have to. So maybe come back and check out the channel for my other Zelda playthroughs. I am going to be playing Echoes of Wisdom when that gets released in 6 days as of recording. So maybe come check that out. And until then, if you made it this far, thank you so much for joining me today. I can't tell you how much I appreciate that. If you liked this video, hit that like button. If you hated this video, hit that dislike button. And either way, hit subscribe. Thanks so much. Bye-bye.
Hey, what about me?